There's one last skill that's pretty complex because it uses other skills that you've already reviewed in slides 1 and 2. And that's how do you order fractions? And so I'm going to look at one example when I have 4 fractions that don't all have the same denominator. So I have first 4 and 3/4, second 20/4, third 14/4, and last 5 1/2. So there's definitely a lot of strategies you could use to order these from least to greatest. But to be absolutely sure, the first thing you want to do is make sure that they all have the same denominator. And so the one that I need to target right here is 5 1/2. I know that 5 1/2, if I rewrite 1/2 and just rewrite it 2 times 2, this is the same thing as 5 2/4. So the very first thing I do is just make sure that all my fractions are out of fourths. The next thing I'm going to do is actually make sure that they are all either improper fractions or all mixed numbers. And so I have a choice. I could switch them all to mixed numbers, or I could switch them all to improper fractions. As I'm looking at this, I think it's going to be a little easier to keep all these as mixed numbers. So I'm just going to rewrite them as mixed numbers. So this first one I don't need to touch, that's 4 3/4. The second one I have 20/4. I'll write that up here. If I have 20/4, I know 4 goes into 20 evenly, and it really just equals 5. If I were to simplify it and use that strategy and just divide both by 4, that's really 5/1, which is the same thing as 5. So 20/4 just becomes 5. 14/4, I want to turn that into an improper fraction. I'll do that over here. 14/4. If I want to turn that into an improper fraction, I'll use that strategy of dividing 14 divided by 4. 4 goes into 14 3 times. 3 times 14, 3 times 4 is 12. I subtract, there's a remainder of 2. So 3, remainder 2. So that means 14/4 is the same thing as 3 2/4. And the last fraction I already have as a mixed number, it's 5 2/4. So now it should be pretty easy to organize these from least to greatest. If I look at these, I'll circle them so you can see all the different pieces of information we have. If I'm going from least to greatest, the smallest one is this fraction. That'll be the first one I write. The second smallest is 4 3/4. That's the next one I'll write. The third one is this fraction, which is just 5, and this is the last one. So the way I'll actually write my answer is I'll use the original fractions and I'll write them here. First is 3 2/4, but the original fraction was 14/4. That comes first. Then is 4 3/4, and that's exactly how it's written, so I can write it just like that, 4 3/4. Then we had 5, but it was originally written as 20/4, so I'll write it as that, 20/4. And last, I have 5 2/4, which was originally written as 5 1/2. So you can see this is a complex set of skills because you're using all these strategies we looked at for slides 1 and 2. You simplified a fraction, you rewrote a fraction, and then you compared them once they had common denominators. Not an easy thing to do. I want you to stop the video here and try this example by yourself by ordering these 4 fractions from least to greatest. Those fractions are 12/3, 3 2/3, 14/3, and 15/3. Stop the video here, order these from least to greatest, and press play when you're ready to check your answer. Okay, you've tried this example at the bottom. I moved it around a little bit just so that we could see a little bit more clearly. If you look at this example, you should have written that 12/3 was really the same thing as 4. 3 2/3, well, we can keep that as a mixed number. 14/3 really simplifies to 4 1/3. No, excuse me. 4 2/3, because 4 times 3 is 12. And then 15/3 really simplifies to 5. If you organize them from least to greatest, the very first one you should have written was 3 2/3. Then comes 12/3. Then comes 4 2/3. And then comes 5. If you ordered them correctly, give yourself a check. That's not an easy problem. And now it's time for independent practice. So what I'd like you to do is to, on your sheet of paper, attempt the following problems. After you've completed all of them, you should be, if you did them correctly, be ready for objective assessment 1B.1 through 2. Here are your independent practice problems to complete. Go ahead and get started. Good luck.